Okay, so we've talked about two kinds of transformations. We talked about translations and reflections. There's a third, stretching and shrinking. We're not going to talk about it. You'll talk about that if you get to later coursework. But we're just going to talk about translations and reflections. And so this video is just sort of like put it all together. So if you have to do lots of these transformations in one step, which order do you go in? Which ones are happening? So remember, translations have two kinds, the ones inside or outside the parentheses, and that determines whether you move it left or right, or up or down. Remember, when it's outside, it goes up and down. When it's inside, it goes left and right. When it's inside, it does opposite of what you want. It goes right when you subtract and left when you add. And then reflections, again, we have two kinds of reflections. We can put the negative on the outside or on the inside. When it's on the outside, it changes the y values. When it's on the inside, it changes the x values. So that reflects over the x-axis or reflects over the y-axis. So when you look at a function, you want to determine which of these things are happening. So in this first example, we have a -2 inside and a +1 outside. So that -2 inside is coming from this left and right translation. So it shifts to the right 2 units. And then that +1 at the end shifts up 1 unit. So in total, we would say right 2, up 1. Okay, in the second example, I have this negative on the outside and this +1 on the inside. When you're thinking about which order you do these in, you want to work your way from outside in, sort of follow those order of operations. So I have this +1 on the inside, that goes left 1, and this minus on the outside, that changes all of the y values. So this is a reflect over the x-axis. Okay, another example, I have a minus x on the inside and a -9 on the outside. So I'm going to work my way inside out. So that -x is going to change all the x values. So reflect over the y-axis. And then this -9 here at the end is happening outside, so it's an up or down. It's going to go down 9 units. Okay, +8 -7. Again, things on the inside go left and right, things on the outside go up and down. So this is a left 8 and a down -7. Okay, a couple more. Minus on the outside, +2 on the outside. So those are always affecting y values. So reflect over the x-axis and then go down 2. Last one has that +6 inside. It's a plus, so it's a shift, a left or right shift because it's in the x's. This is going to go left 6 units. Okay, so when we think about the order that things happen in, it follows the order of operation. So work your way from inside the parentheses to outside. So the first thing that's going to happen is reflections over the y-axis. And then you might have reflections over the x-axis. And then last but not least, you're going to do your shifts, left or right. Oops. Then up or down. So the last thing to happen are those up or down shifts, okay? Because they're at the very end, addition and subtraction. So all the multiplications come first, the inside parentheses come first, the outside parentheses comes after, and then the shifts come last. Okay, so this guy says, use the graph to carefully graph this new function. And let's do the transformation. So I see 3 transformations here. I see this minus in the front, I see this plus 2, and I see this minus there. So these 3 things, I'm going to do this plus 2 because it's inside the parentheses. So that tells me to go left 2. I'm going to do this guy here because he's multiplied, and he's a reflect. He's taking all the y values and making them negative. So reflect over the x-axis. And then last but not least, this minus 3 is going to go down 3. So basically what I want to think about is subtract 2 from x, change the sign of the y, and then subtract 3, sorry, I'm going down 3, subtract 3 from y. So I'm going to take each of these points. I see kind of 3 points that if I knew where they were going to be, I could draw the graph. So I'm going to take each of these points and do all of those things to it. So that first point is at negative 2, 0. When I subtract 2 from x, I get to negative 4, 0. When I change the sign of the y, doesn't go anywhere, right? Because when I make 0 negative, it's still 0. And then when I subtract 3 from the y, I get negative 4, 3. So this first point, this negative 2, 0 right here, ends up at negative 4, negative 3, subtract 3. Negative 4, negative 3. So negative 4, negative 3. Okay, let's do this second point here. That point there is the point 0, 2. So subtract 2 from the x. 0 minus 2 makes negative 2, 2. Okay, change the sign of the y value. So y was positive 2, now he becomes negative 2. Subtract 3 from the y. So negative 2 minus 3 makes negative 5. So this second point that was at 0, 2 is now going to be at negative 2, negative 5. Okay, one more. I have this point here at 2, 0. So 2, 0. Again, I'm just following this list of steps right here. So subtract 2 from the x. 0, 0. Change the sign of the y value. Well, it was already 0, so it can't change sign. And then subtract 3 from y. 0, negative 3. So this point that was at 2, 0 is now going to be at 0, negative 3. When I connect the dots, that half circle is upside down now because I did that reflection. It's shifted to the left 2 and down 3. So that's what happened there. It went left 2. It flipped upside down, and then it went down 3. So that's why the picture looks like that down there, left 2, down 3, and it's upside down. It's sort of a smiley face instead of a frown.